Putin Breaking News. It's possible for Ukraine to win the war but lose the peace. The Ukrainians' victory over Russia was hard-fought, but it could be lost at any moment. Complete and total openness is required to secure peace. The fighting in Ukraine is expected to end in the coming weeks or months. Russia has already been defeated. The only open question is to what degree. The political backlash at home will be severe if the Kremlin fails to achieve any of its war aims. Remember denazification, enforced neutrality, or Novorossiya. While Ukraine may fall short of its full potential, the country's long-term goal of becoming a prosperous and secure nation with the ability to make its own security decisions has never looked more likely. However, it is still possible to throw away this hard-won success. We face two major threats. One possibility is that Western assurances of safety are not as solid as they seem, but rather are only a temporary measure. When it comes to NATO, soon means never. Something that isn't quite NATO ends up being nothing. There is a risk that a change in power in the United States after the next presidential election, or European attempts to do deals with the post-Putin Kremlin, could undermine solemn bilateral commitments, Taiwan plus or Israel plus. Corruption also poses a threat to the post-war reconstruction process. The World Bank estimates that the total cost will be over $411 billion, and that's before the catastrophic failure of the Kakhovka Dam. It will be the largest economic project ever undertaken by a group of people working together, and it will be done quickly and with great expectations in a country that many people thought was even more corrupt than Russia before the war. Since 1991, Ukraine has struggled against ineffective institutions and avaricious officials, with only sporadic and delayed success. The cost to its citizens is high and terrible. Poland, despite being slightly smaller than Ukraine in 1990, will be nearly 3 times as wealthy as Ukraine will be in 2021. Not even Poland's biggest supporters present the country as a model of efficient government. Income per person in Estonia, the best-managed country to emerge from the communist disaster, roughly quintupled during this time. A lot of convincing and attractive terms, like subsidized insurance, will be required to attract private investors. Therefore, public and multilateral institutions will make the most significant contribution. With political pressure on international donors and lenders to provide large sums of money quickly, bribery and corruption are likely to be rampant. The war has, fairly, increased social trust in Ukraine. Tycoons with political clout who stymied progress in the country are no longer a factor. The antidote to corruption is a heartfelt sense of patriotism. When war is not present, however, things are a different story. The phrase, "it's our turn to eat," became popular in post-apartheid South Africa. Hardened veterans of the liberation struggle naturally felt entitled to the spoils of victory. The resulting widespread clientelism and favoritism, combined with the crony capitalism of the previous regime, ultimately doomed the country. Skepticism is nourished by corruption. The security situation will worsen if the initial investment in rebuilding is viewed as frivolous or stolen. These threats paint a gloomy picture of the context in which the London Conference on Rebuilding Ukraine will take place at the end of the month. At the very least, they ought to. It's concerning to hear that anti-corruption activists in Ukraine and elsewhere are being left out of the conversation. There is growing concern that the summit will be nothing more than a power play by Western corporations and Ukrainian oligarchs looking out for their own post-war prosperity at the expense of the general populace. The clock is ticking, but the answers are obvious. Honesty at all times and in all places. Construct upward from the floor. Institutions, not just buildings, should be prioritized. Do not give politically powerful businesses special treatment that allows them to bypass norms. Keep in mind that Westerners play a huge role in perpetuating corruption worldwide.